Good, happy Wednesday evening, November 11, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Wednesday evening, so let's begin. First up, we begin with your coronavirus in New Hampshire key information and data. Let's take a look at that right now. And here is a look at that information for all of you right now. There are 12,919 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. There are 10,230,770 number of people in the United States have tested positive. 489 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 796 number of people have been hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And 239,521 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. And let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire right here, where current cases of COVID-19 are. In Nashua, 146. And let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire, where total cases of COVID-19 are. Nashua, 1337. And now let's take a look at these three charts here. Let's start with the first chart here. New cases each day in New Hampshire in the purple. Daily new positive COVID-19 cases in the orange. New hospitalization. Red, deaths. And let's take a look at this chart here. Current cases. In the purple, total current COVID-19 cases. And in the orange, current hospitalization. And let's take a look at this chart here. Total cases. In the purple, total positive for COVID-19 cases. In orange, total hospitalization. Red, deaths. And blue, recovered. Let's take a look at this chart here. Positive PCR test rate and daily PCR test. Let's take a look at this chart here. Age group of cases, female and male of cases, and risk information. And let's take a look at this chart here. Infections, hospitalizations, and deaths. And let's take a look at this chart here. Deaths, percent of New Hampshire population, race/ethnicity of cases, and hospitalizations. And a reminder of your common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, chills, difficult breathing, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. How it spreads, and prevention tips. And be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. Travelers from New Hampshire face restrictions in more states. New Hampshire has been added to the list of travel restrictions for more states because of its rising coronavirus numbers. Anyone traveling from New Hampshire to Connecticut, New Jersey, or Vermont is now required to quarantine for 14 days upon arrival. New Hampshire health officials say that substantial community transmission of COVID-19 is happening in every county in the state. The list of states that have either testing or quarantine requirements for New Hampshire visitors include New York, Washington, D.C., New Mexico, and Alaska. When you consider the amount of red we're seeing in the Northeast and that it's not likely to improve for a few weeks, it only made sense to simplify the policy in order to ensure better compliance, Vermont Governor Phil Scott said. Nashua Children's Home needs help making holidays brighter. Pandemic means more children will be celebrating at facility. Whether it's a life-sized Hungry Hippo contest or a Halloween costume party, the staff members at Nashua Children's Home keep coming up with creative ways to help children bond with one another. But the jovial images don't necessarily reflect their reality. These are kids that know more heartbreak and rejection and abandonment by the time they are 10 years old than most of us will know in a lifetime, said Dave, executive director of Nashua's Children's Home. The Nashua Children's Home has provided shelter and guidance for children with an unstable family life. The holiday season can be tough in a normal year, and the pandemic is presenting unique challenges. It's been difficult in that they've not been able to participate in a lot of community activities that they would have otherwise, the executive director said. They've not been able to hold community jobs. They've not been able to hold community visits with other families for this situation. We really needed to be guarded. The organization now needs help brightening the gap for Christmas. Typically reliant on donations of toys and electronics, the Nashua Children's Home is also asking for a monetary donation or gift cards this year. It's going to be the first year, really, that all the kids will wake up on Christmas Day at Nashua Children's Home. So we've really doubled our efforts to make sure it's going to be a memorable holiday for the kids, the executive director said. Sports betting tops 200 million. Let's take a listen to that video right now in that report. Sports betting tops 200 million. Legal sports betting in New Hampshire hit a milestone earlier this week as total bets surpassed 200 million. State lottery officials said 52,000 players have registered to bet in the state and have placed more than 6 million individual wagers. As of Monday, the total amount bet was $205 million since the New Hampshire Lottery kicked off the sports betting program in January with DraftKings as its executive vendor. The success of sports betting in New Hampshire represents success for our entire state, as revenue from sports betting directly benefits education in New Hampshire, Governor Chris Sununu said in a statement. I have said repeatedly that sports betting is the right bet for the Granite State, and seeing the New Hampshire Lottery surpass 200 million in total sports wagerings in less than a year clearly demonstrates the tremendous demand. Nearly 95% of the bets were placed on the program's online portal, while 5.6%, totaling 11.5 million, were made in person at the state's two DraftKings sportbook locations at the Brook in Seabrook and at the Flintimo Casino and Restaurant in Manchester. The Seabrook site opened in August. The Manchester sportsbook opened in September. The global pandemic brought professional sports and the state's emerging new betting game to a screeching halt last spring. But as professional sports have returned, many stadiums still without fans in the stands, battling has returned. Lottery Executive Director Charlie McIntyre said bets in the state during the fall were heavy on both the New England Patriots and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The later team, the new home of former Patriots quarterback Tom Brady. With the NFL and college football seasons in full swing, and with the upcoming NBA season slated to start before Christmas, we are continuing to drive momentum with this new way to play the New Hampshire lottery, McIntyre said. Wagerers must be placed within New Hampshire, and players can't bet on any interim teams in the state, such as University of New Hampshire hockey. As with all lottery games, profits from sports betting support state aid to public schools. Since the games begun, they have generated $4.6 million in profit for schools, according to lottery officials. From July through September, sports betting has produced $2.2 million in the current state budget year. When lawmakers made sports betting legal, estimates were it could raise as much as $7.5 million in profit a year, but COVID-19 caused all sports betting operations to dramatically lower their expectations for 2020. New Hampshire lottery officials said they are now optimistic as long as sports remain active and there isn't another shutdown. That betting could bring in $10 million in profits by the end of the budget year next June 30th. And that is it for this news report right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for watching this news report on the Riley King Network. Goodbye, everyone. Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Manchester-Boston Regional Airport. Delta won't resume operations at the airport. Let's take a listen to that video and that report. Manchester-Boston Regional Airport. Delta won't resume operations at airport. Airline had been expected to resume operations at the airport in the spring. Delta Airlines will not resume operations at Manchester-Boston Regional Airport next spring, as previously thought, airport officials confirmed Tuesday. Airport Director Ted Kitchens told members of the Aldermanic Special Committee on Airport Activities that Delta officials have informed him the carrier is also removing all signage and Delta branding from gates 5 and 6, which the carriers lease at Manchester-Boston Regional Airport. Delta announced last spring they were temporarily suspending service out of MHT due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, with a tentative return date in late 2020. That return date was pushed out to March 2021, when a second wave of coronavirus infections began appearing in southern states in July. We stand ready to welcome Delta back into the MHT family when the business climate is right for them to do so, said Kitchens. So, while we don't necessarily agree with the decision, we support Delta in the decision and will be more than happy to welcome Delta back. We think there's still plenty of demand in the market for Delta, and it's just going to be a matter of time for Delta to fix Delta's issues. But in the meantime, we will continue to strengthen our partnerships with our existing carriers, and as the opportunities arise, continuing marketing the airport to new airlines. Kitchens said gates 5 and 6 are not being held for Delta and are available for any carrier that wants them. Kitchens told aldermen that in the third quarter alone, Delta reported the largest financial loss out of the big four carriers, Delta, American, and Southwest. And also United at $5.8 billion, and the carrier continues to burn $18 billion a day in cash. Collectively, the big four carriers reported over $10 billion in losses for the third quarter and have a negative cash flow of over $100 million a day, said Kitchens. Although this decision is not welcome news for MHT, we understand this business decision by Delta. Kitchens also told aldermen effective December 1st, MHT will increase the daily parking rates in the airport's parking garage from 10 a day to 14 a day. Rates at the garage were lowered from 17 a day to 10 a day last spring after officials closed long-term parking lot C, resulting in savings of $639.85 in operating expenses. Kitchens said the move is necessary in order to offset lost revenue for FY21 due to the decrease in passenger activity at the airport due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The hourly rate in the garage will increase to $3.50 an hour from $3 an hour. Kitchens said he anticipates the parking rate increase to generate an additional $650,000 in parking for the remainder of FY21, based on 800 daily vehicles in the garage, compared with the $637.85 in operating expense savings. This would generate $1,287.85 increase in positive cash flow for the airport. It is important to note that even with the increase in cash flow, we anticipate a year-over-year loss in parking revenue due to the continued softness in aviation demand, said Kitchens. This navigate year-over-year varies could be reduced if demand during the winter months and into spring of 2021 returns stronger than we forecast. According to Kitchens, recent TSA numbers show that recovery at MHT is outperforming similar airports in New England with an approximately 35% return to pre-pandemic daily traffic levels. Aldermen voted unanimously earlier this year to authorize kitchens to accept $12.1 million in federal FAA CARES Act funds and begin using the funds. As of September 30th, the airport has drawn around $5.5 million of the $12.1 million in CARES money it received, with the remainder to be drawn down over the course of FY21. The funds were issued to the airport on a reimbursable basis and are being used to reduce debt service and lower airline operating costs. And that does it for this news report right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for watching this news report on the Riley King Network, and goodbye. Okay, and there you go on that report in that video. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for joining us for this evening edition. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night and goodbye, everyone.